Welcome back, VA user. In today's session, we are going to cover how to enter the GL journal. Now, there are cases when at the end of the month, some of the GL journal needs to be entered manually. Now, one of the case, let's suppose you do not have the accounting module installed, but you want that certain entries to be passed on, and or in terms of asset management, it is not installed, but you want to pass certain entries into the system. Similarly, there might be a possibility that you do not have the HR or payroll module installed and you want to pass certain payroll entries using the GL journal. So in such a cases, when you have the financial module installed, apart from that, other modules are not there. In such a cases, there are certain GL journal entries needs to be passed at the end of each month. So you can take an example that you have the financial module, but you do not have some other modules that has certain transaction occurred every month. As I have mentioned already, that can be in payroll entries, that can be of depreciation entries, or that can be some other entries. Now, there are some other entries that are known as accrual entries that you be passed before closing the profit and loss for the period. So in such a cases, GL journal is one of the utility. By using that, the user can process such transactions into the VA system. How to process such entries into the VA system, we are going to see into the system now. Let's move on to the system and we'll see how we can pass the journal entries. I'm at my login screen now and I'm going to log in with ID as admin. That is my username and password, and then we'll pass some of the GL journal entries. So let's search for the GL journal. So there is a GL journal window available into the VA system. Here you just need to pass the entries for the specific account schema, or if you want to pass all together, if you have more than one accounting schema and you want to pass all the you want to pass a single GL journal and the impact has to come onto the other accounting schema, you would be able to do so. So now this is our GL journal screen, and if I want to generate a GL journal entry, I need to click on new record. I need to select my relevant accounting book, the document type, thereafter the document date and the account date, and then you just need to write down a certain description. So I would write down, let's say, a sample entry for training. Okay. The another important part of it is basically to select the posting type. Now you have multiple posting types. So normally the journal voucher used to be passed actually, or they can be of the budget type, but based on to the implementation, there might be a possibility that you need to pass some other posting type. You would be able to do so into the VA system. Now I'm passing it actual entry. If it is a budget, then the system will ask you for your budget, so you need to define the budget and you need to select that budget. Right now I'm passing an actual entry, so I will select this. Based on to the selection of the accounting date, the system picks up the period automatically, and once it is done, thereafter you need to save the record. You can change the currency if you require, but normally if you want to pass some other currency transaction line, you would be able to do so at the level of the GL journal line. So we'll save this record and move on to the line. If this entry is about the accrual entry that need to be reversed, then you need to enter the reversal date, and there is a process into the menu by which you would be able to reverse all those transactions in one shot, or you would be able to place a filter using the advanced filter or the filter action, and you would be able to filter out all those products for that particular period and able to reverse the records one by one as well. Now let's move on to the line, and into the line we just need to write down line. We need to click on new record. we need to write down the description for the GL journal line, and thereafter you need to select the relevant ledger code. So let's say I want to select some expense code here. So I would say there is a data processing other expenses. So that is of how much value? It is of 100 value. And similarly, there would be a certain revenue. I'm just selecting, that all depends that which kind of GL journal you need to pass. So you just need to select the relevant ledger code. I'm passing an example entry to showcase you. So select some revenue. So I would select some service revenue, and it is of $100. So it is done. Now, in case if you want to pass some GL lines into the other currency, then you would be able to select those, and as a result the system will ask you the currency type and the conversion date. Based on that, the rate will be picked up by the currency conversion tab of the currency window. So once it is done, thereafter you would be able to see the differences. Here the source would be $100, and the debit and credit value, account debit and credit value, will be the value for the currency selected. Okay. But I don't want to do so, so I will select USD and I would save this record. So in this way, I would be able to enter n number of transactions, and onto the save event you would be able to see under which organization, for which ledger code, the combination gets auto-generated by the system. Okay. Now there is another important thing. There's some other references. Let's suppose I'm entering this expense. I want to enter this expense. It is occurred because of this business partner. I would be able to do. But the manual entries are only those entries, as an example, where you do not have that particular module. It would be allowed by the government to pass such an entries. But if you have the taxation applied, then normally across the globe, the government used to say that pass the relevant transaction. Let's suppose for that, I have taken an example of data processing other expense, and if I want to pass a business partner that this expense occurred because of this particular vendor, it means I would be able to enter the expense voucher or the expense invoice into the VA system. Similarly, other references available, you would be able to select the references as per your requirement. Now there are the cases, when let's suppose this $100 would be the expenses, but this expenses incurred because of 2 or 3 vendors. So I would be able to, I don't want to create multiple lines. Instead, I just want that I will place the total value here, and thereafter the breakup will be done by the VA system. In such a case, what you can do, you will select here as a business partner, and you can move on to the line dimension, and thereafter you can say new record and select your vendors, all those 2 or 3 vendors, and whatever the expenses incurred by those, you would be able to enter. Then as a result of the posting, while completing this transaction, and as a result of the posting, what the system will do, system will post this value along with the reference of the vendor instead of this value. Okay, so that is the line dimension, but I don't want to do so. I would select and type empty. The type should be only selected when you want to pass some line dimension. Okay, now the fourth tab is, if you have multiple accounting schema and you want to create a single GL journal voucher, and you want that it will be posted in all the accounting schema, and you need not to pass again and again GL journal. In such a case, you would be able to select your accounting schema, the currency type, and the rate, and based on that rate, the system will post the GL voucher to the other accounting schema as well. Okay. Now it seems to be a little difficult while doing into the transaction. However, into the VA system, there is a GL journal form utility is available. Using that form, we would be able to do all these transactions very quickly. Onto the other side, we have the Excel import utility. By using that, we will be able to generate all those lines. Okay, so once it is done, then we would be able to complete and process the record. The mandatory condition is that your total debit should be equal to total credit. Okay. And if you want that certain GL journal should not be more than a certain value, then you would be able to define your control amount. Apart from that, if you have the lines or you have the GL voucher that is repetitive in nature, you would be able to copy from, or we would be able to place the recurring. So there is a functionality of recurring is available within the VA system. Okay. So for us, the GL journal voucher is done. If I want to verify, then I would take the printout and I will see whether everything is all well into the GL voucher. If everything went well, then I would be able to process my record. So yes, everything is all good. Let's move on to the record. We'll say complete, and then we would be able to post the record. So when you click on this, you would be able to post your record, and then you would be able to see your postings as well. If you want to export this posting, you would be able to say export, and the system will showcase export the Excel for you, and you would be able to verify your posting as well into the Excel. So if you can click on this open file, you would be able to see. Okay, so that is how we would be able to generate a GL journal using the GL journal window into the system. Now apart from that, there is another window available that is called GL journal batch. So there is a very slight difference between GL journal and GL journal batch. In terms of the batch, if suppose I want to generate the budget for the entire month and I want a single record into the VA system, in such a case, I would open the batch, I will generate the batch, and then 12 journal vouchers I would be able to pass, and in such a way I do have a one record for the entire budget, entire year budget, but that contains 12 different GL journal vouchers. However, this can be achieved using the GL journal window. You would be able to pass directly 12 records here at the level of the GL journal. So that is what GL journal batch and the GL journal window. So we'll discuss about the GL journal form in some other video, where I will showcase you how quickly you would be able to pass a GL voucher into the VA system. That's all in this video. If you find that this video is useful for you, then share this video along with your colleagues so that they will run that how they can pass the GL journal into the VA system. And if you like our content, then I would request you to subscribe our channel. In this video, thanks a lot.